Again, hello and welcome to today's meditation class. At the same time, there should be an introduction to meditation class happening, and that is in the room over in the community hall. This is the ongoing class. We call it an ongoing class, but even ongoing classes have to stop, and this ongoing class is stopping today. Because when I leave here, after the session is finished, we go off to Bodhinyana, and tomorrow we have the beginning of the rains retreat ceremony at Bodhinyana. So this is the last time you will see me here for a while. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. There's so many teachings which we've given. There's so much on the web and many internet talks on meditation that sometimes you wonder, are we giving too much information and not enough practice? There is certainly enough information, and that information is all about how to make the mind still. Where's Lucky gone? She said, okay, yeah, very good. I'll just answer that question which you showed me earlier, because somebody sent an email question. The question was, why does Ajahn Brahm only talk about the first two stages of the 16 stages of Anapanasati? And that 16 stages, the breath meditation, number 1, number 2 is knowing about whether it's a long breath or a short breath as you breathe in or out. That's what it says. What it means is that having some interest in the length of the breath, and that actually adds something of interest when you're watching the breath. So you're not just watching the breath, you're also noticing whether it's a long breath or a short breath. But that doesn't mean you have to do a long breath and then a short breath. So I remember when I was doing that many years ago, sometimes I wondered, my breath wasn't long, was it short? It was sometimes in the middle. I was a Buddhist, I practiced the middle way. But, that's a joke, come on, it's okay to laugh. But nevertheless, you know, that I realized much later, that is just one of many ways to start a breath meditation. You don't just know it's long or short, you know roughly when it's really long or really short, or in between somehow. Or sometimes you can use these words you say along with the breathing. Like in Thailand, the word they always used to use was do Buddho with the breath. Breathing in Bud, breathing out To. Buddho, Buddho. But that would really work if you're born a Buddhist, raised a Buddhist. That word had a powerful meaning. But when I came here and tried that over in Australia, people weren't that interested. So I tried other words. The next thing I tried, because you know my character, was as you breathe in, you recite to yourself the word shut. As you breathe out, up. Shut. With the breath. Well, that's what happened. People laughed. They didn't take it seriously. So these days, if I do anything like that with the breath, I always say something like, breathing in, peace. Breathe out, let go. Peace, let go. Peace, let go. That's quite effective. You can change it from peace to something else, like breathing in health, or breathing in, especially if you're meditating with an illness, breathing in sort of comfort, breathing out sort of always let go when you're breathing out. That makes it interesting. And when things become interesting, of course it's easier to keep your focus. That was actually basically stages 1 and 2 of the meditation which the Buddha taught. But then when you get to the stages 3 and 4, stages 3 and 4 is seeing the whole of the breath as you breathe in. Seeing the whole of the breath as you breathe out. In other words, you don't just see I usually use a visual example. This is my finger. Now, because I know that I'm sitting here, this is for you. This is going from left to right. Me, it's opposite way around. Right to left. So you can see it either left to right, right to left. That's just seeing the breath. Seeing the whole of the breath. You're seeing it from the very beginning to the very end. from the very end to the very beginning. So you can watch my finger now. That's seeing the whole of the breath. And also you're getting very sleepy. And when I finish, you'll follow my every command. That's what he's hypnotizing. But anyway, seeing the whole of the breath go in and go out. And that's basically stage 3 of the Anapanasati. And stage 4 is just to calm that breath down. And it's not something you do. It's the longer you look at it and the more you don't do, the more calm that breath becomes. The breath is a natural phenomenon. And the more you have to think, the more you have to do, the more oxygen your body needs, the more you need to breathe. But when you sit there and really relax to the max, you don't need to breathe so much. So your breath gets very calm and even and very peaceful and doesn't breathe much at all. And then, once you've done that breathing stuff, the next thing which happens is that you get joy coming up in the mind. And again, that's the 5th and 6th stages. Piti Sukha. Piti Sukha means like joy and pleasure comes up in the mind. So you're breathing in and out, and these things start to come. That's part of the practice, 5th and 6th. And the 7th is you can experience the whole. And this was really important for me. The whole of what is called the Chitta Sankhara, the breath, being beautiful. It's not that the breath is particularly attractive. If you want to know, just breathe in and out now. Is that really interesting? But when you get very still and peaceful, the mind gets very strong. Whatever it sees becomes delightful. This is what the mind adds on to the experience. When that starts to appear, that's the 5th and 6th stages of Anapanasati. So in the 7th is actually seeing the whole of the Chitta Sankhara, and then the 8th is calming that Piti Sukha down. Calming the Piti Sukha, what it means, it becomes stable instead of being so bright, and so sometimes can even just don't know how to handle it. It's like the difference between riding a bicycle when you're watching the breath, this is a simile, and having a Ferrari sports car to ride. The Piti Sukha which comes up is much more powerful, and to be able to handle that and keep it calm, you need a bit more skill, a bit more allowed to let these things be by themselves and not interfere. So that becomes the 7th and 8th part of Anapanasati. And then you get to I'm going through this quickly, the 9th and 10th and 11th stages. If you look at the Pali, is the only way to go here, because this is like deep stuff. You experience the Chitta Sankhara, breathing in and out, experiencing the mind. And that is always experiencing this beautiful light which comes up in the mind. The Chitta is a mind. And it's usually seen as a light which comes in the mind. And when you're experiencing that Chitta, that mind, then there's 2 things we have to do with that mind. Just brightening up that mind, giving it some extra oomph, abhipamojayang chittang, and that is actually giving it joy and happiness. And then samadhahang chittang, which is like stilling that nimitta, that light in the mind, keeping it stable so it doesn't go all over the place. It stays there. Those 2 usually go together. The more you have, even abhipamojayang, it's a word which means 2 things. One of those things, meanings, is giving it confidence. I like that word, giving it confidence, as well as finding joy. You find joy in something, which means you're confident in it. Because the confidence means you trust it, you feel safe with it. You don't have to do anything, you don't have to keep it, you don't have to secure it. It's there as a friend, you leave it be free and it stays with you. And let it be still. And then that becomes the 10th and 11th stages of Anapanasati. And the 12th stage, I often focus on this one, is Vimochiyang Chittang. With that Vimochayang, the Buddha calls, the Vimokas. Vimokas is when you enter the jhanas, the deep stages. And that becomes the 12th stage of Anapanasati. So that is actually where you get into deep states of bliss in meditation. Stillness, when you can't feel your body, you can't hear sounds. And then after that, when you emerge from those meditations, then it's usually quite obvious that you start to reflect on renunciation, on things vanishing, things being cause and effect, anicca not always there. That's one of the reasons I often ask people, when a person does get into a deep meditation and they come out afterwards, it's interesting to ask what that was like, but it's much better to ask what had vanished, what had disappeared. And then, this is where one gets the insights from. But one of the great teachings of the Buddha was the teaching that enlightenment is a natural process. It's not what you do, it's what happens when you get out of the way and let it happen. And it's a beautiful thing when the Buddha says in each of these stages, such as you get some stillness in the mind, samadhi, you do not have to wish, you do not have to make the attention, oh, may I see the truth. It happens as a natural phenomena, one thing leading to another. It's not your choice. You can't stop it. So that's a beautiful similes which the Buddha says about Anapanasati. And of course I talk much about Anapanasati, but I don't like giving too many instructions, because just get people to get the beginning part of it. And the Anapanasati is great, but the beginning part of it is most important. So one get to a stage where one can see the breath, and one can calm it, see it calm down all by itself. That's why here, when I do a guided meditation, I often teach you just how to relax your body first of all. So much so the body is really at ease. I'm just being aware of my body now. If I meditated like this, without some adjustments, I'd be really aching after 5 or 10 minutes. My bodily posture, I haven't paid much attention to it, is not that good. And also my mindfulness is too much engaged with you. I need to put it inside. And when you do that in your meditation, with your own body first of all, you get some feedback. You know the meditation is going in the right direction, because you feel really relaxed and peaceful and happy. The piti sukha, the joy, is already becoming up, even before you're watching any breath or anything, just on your body. Sometimes I'm amazed when I'm teaching giving a few talks on Zoom last week, and also that when I give a talk on Zoom, they always want a meditation as well. And when I'm sitting on a chair, not like this sitting down here, my legs are hanging over the chair like you are now. But I always don't wear socks. That is such an advantage, honestly. And even now, sometimes, if you really want to take your socks off, just don't worry about the smell. And then you can actually feel your texture of your feet on the carpet. It's delightful. I love those experiences. I think I said to someone the other day, thank you, Conrad. Please hold your noses. No, you're fine. So it gives you something extra to be aware of. You can't resist it. Feeling the texture of the carpet on your bare feet. Or the other day I said that, I got up early from my cave to go to the toilet. I decided there was enough moonlight, decided not to use a flashlight, because I know this is where I live, I know the terrain. And then I felt the door of the little office where my toilet is. And when I felt the door, I put my hand on the wooden paneling, and I just couldn't open the door because it felt so delightful. Just a feeling like this here, when you're really aware you can experience the beautiful feeling of a varnished piece of wood. And you start feeling it and you can get so much into it. That is where your awareness is starting to grow. So often when I teach meditation, I get that awareness pretty strong at the beginning, even when you're watching your breath, even when you're feeling the door. I'm not making this up. I could just feel this for the next 45 minutes, being delightful, exploring all the different textures and the smoothness here. It's like a satin. It just glides over my fingertips. But anyway, then when your body is all relaxed and it feels like that all over, sensitive but at ease and peaceful, then of course it's easy to let it go. The more comfortable it is, the more at ease, the more simple it is for it to disappear. That's one of the reasons why if you go to bed at night, you want a good deep sleep. Doing that reflection on the body, that is a great way to get to sleep quickly. I said reflection, that's the wrong word. The mindfulness of the body, awareness of the body. Because what that does, everything just gets very peaceful and still uncomfortable. I often notice that even sitting down, sometimes you get an ache or pain here, but when you're lying down in the bed, that's one of the most comfortable postures for a human being. So it should be easy to relax when you're laying down, but still people have insomnia, they can't go to sleep. Why? They don't know how to relax their body. And anyway, once that body is relaxed, then I start to go into the mind, to peace. But even there, I start to ask people, can you see the joy of peace, of being in this moment? It's so logical to me. All the stuff you have to do. After we finish here, I'm just going to rush back to Bodhinyana Monastery, check everything's okay for tomorrow. There's a big ceremony there tomorrow. And I should be worried about it. I'm not. Especially in meditation, it just disappears, you forget it. In the moment, you don't have any busyness. In this moment, you are free. And freedom is a wonderful thing to feel. And I really appreciate it. So as I'm meditating, and the past disappears, the future disappears, the present moment gets so delightful. You're looking in, often I think, this is enough for me. This is great, it's wonderful. But of course, then it gets very silent inside. There's no business, no one is talking, there's nothing to talk about. And I appreciate that silence of the mind. So much so I do talk a lot, it's my job. But when I'm meditating, you don't have to talk at all. And I trust my experience enough not to give things names. I don't need to try and remember things. I just completely stop and be silent. And from there, very often the breath appears. And you don't really need to do the first stages. See, because you can see the breath. The breath comes to you. You don't go looking for the breath. The only reason is because there's a last thing moving in your body. And then when the breath is there, at this stage it's really easy to keep your attention on it. You don't have a choice. At least I don't. The breath draws me in. And you just watch it for a long time. You don't even count how long. And it gets more and more joyful. Those stages of 5 and 6 in the 16 stages of meditation, they're right there in front of you, and you see the 7th and 8th stages. And then you get so calm, then you see the 9th stage, this beautiful light, nimitta, the citta, the way you perceive the citta appears in your mind. And that's always full of joy. It's just pleasure, it's beautiful. Sometimes you may see a beautiful sunset. This is like that times 1,000. It's gorgeous, you bliss out. And from there you go deeper into it. It pulls you in simply because it's just so delightful, attractive. And you can't, it's the nature of the mind. It will go right in there. And this is actually where the deep jhanas happen, nimittas. And when you come out afterwards, you're so free, you can see so powerfully. And that's where you do the last 4 stages of Anapanasati. That's where wisdom happens. You see the nature of this body and the mind. Not as a theory, it's right in front of you. It's very difficult to miss. So anyway, I'm going to stop talking now, and so we can start the meditation and just see what happens. So again, if anyone's come for the beginner's meditation, it's too wet to go outside, just stay in here and see what happens. Okay, so usually I do the first part of the meditation guided, and then I'm quiet and I enjoy myself, and hopefully you enjoy yourself as well. Enjoying the peace and the ease of meditation. So, first thing to do, check your posture. I need a bit of water. Good. So I begin by checking my legs, especially my feet, because I'm sitting on a cushion and it is the outside edge of my feet, the side of my feet is what is touching the carpet or the cushion. But I can still feel them. Feel the cushion. Feel how the feet are interacting with the floor, with the sock. But you make sure that it's comfortable. And it's an easy thing to do. I just ask my feet, are you comfortable like that? What that does, asking that question, it connects your brain with that part of your body. So you become mindful. That becomes the center of your attention, my feet. And I wait for a few seconds, because it's as if it takes a while, only a few seconds, to be able to experience your feet more fully. And you can start to see if there's any problems there. As for me, my feet are reasonably comfortable now. And by being aware of them with kindness, they start to feel really good again. Like a tingling sensation on my feet. It's very pleasant. Sometimes, because of some inattention or because of some tightness, you can feel that things aren't flowing evenly throughout the feet. And I'm aware of that. Release any tension. And I can feel my feet relax. They feel different than a second ago. I feel more at ease. And the more at ease which I feel on my feet, the more delightful they feel. Starting to really enjoy even this early stage of meditation. And I move the attention up to the calves and the bones in my lower legs. I can feel them, check them out. And the skin, just pick up whatever sensations are there at first. Stay there, be kind, and you find you pick up more sensations. It's like you have a microscope and you're increasing its power second by second. And you feel more of the sensations and feelings in that part of your body. And that too feels more relaxed than a few moments ago. And I'm just relaxing my whole body, part by part. I go to my knees. I wasn't even aware of them a moment ago, but now I'm fully aware of them. I'm just looking at my knees. I can feel them and relaxing them. They feel more and more loose. There's no tightness or tension which I can discern there. And they too start to tingle with relaxation. I may not know the words, but I certainly know the experiences. And it's telling me that they are fine now. I go to my thighs, big muscles, making sure they are comfortable. And I don't pass them by too quickly, even though I can't see any problems there. I'll wait until I can notice the sign of deep ease, that delightful feeling. And then my whole legs, from my thighs down to my toes, are really at ease, while they've been resting on satin cushions. So much comfort. And I go to my bottom, the buttocks. I can feel the pressure of my body squashing those buttocks against the cushion. I have to make sure they're comfortable. If I put my cushion in a loose way, in other words, I don't pay attention to the position of the cushion I'm sitting on, the zafu, then I know those buttocks will be sore at the end of the meditation. It's an important part of my posture. So actually I'm going to push my zafu a little bit further under my buttocks. And again, that feels good. So the buttocks and the legs are at ease. Check the waist. With the waist, the back. And this is, again, I prefer stretching my back at this point. And you do have these beautiful feelings of endorphins, whatever it's called, these pleasure hormones or whatever they're called, just being released with a stretch of the back. Then I'll let go and let the body fall into a position where it's comfortable. And again, please don't follow books. This is your back, don't follow me. Where's the best position for your back? If you're sitting on a chair, some people like to lean against the backrest, fine. Some people prefer sitting just straight. That's up to you. Find out what's the best posture. That takes mindfulness and care. And I go back to the front of my body, the base of the body, of the torso, and I go up the body from the inside. This is always really worthwhile. I can feel the intestines, colon, whatever it's called, making sure that digestive tract is at ease. I can feel it's a bit irritated at first. There's been that cup of tea which I had just before I came in. And I found out with my own body, if there's any tightness there, any strange feeling, I can stay with it, be at ease with it, be kind to it, and the feeling gets less and less disturbing. I use the simile of the anger-eating monster. Not saying the whole simile now, but I say that so often. When you have an ache or a pain or a tightness in the body, I've learned to say welcome, to give it kindness, to relax with it, rather than trying to get rid of it. I'm happy to be here. And that makes everything so at ease. Go up to the stomach and the lungs and the heart and all those organs in the back, livers and kidneys and stuff. Can feel that area of the body and relaxing it to the max. When I get to the shoulders, I relax the shoulders. Making sure that nothing's being pulled. I feel safe, which means I can let go of this tension which is supposed to protect us. This idea of being alert and tight and ready to defend something. Here I let go of everything. So the shoulders feel so at ease. And go down my arms. The upper arms, the elbows. Oh, the upper arms and elbows feel so good. I like to linger there for a while because it feels delightful. And then forearms and wrists and hands and fingers. I'm adjusting my fingers again, as I always do at this time. When I start meditation, my awareness and kindness is not strong enough to notice there was a better position for my fingers. Now I can see that. So I've adjusted my fingers. My whole arms kind of tingle. That's my word for it. It feels pleasant. And go back up to my neck. It's usually this point in the head on top of my neck to make sure that that's well balanced. If it is, then I will never get a neck ache or shoulder pain. And then lastly, you go to the front of your face. This is a great way of overcoming some of the hindrances which are expressed in the emotions and how they screw up some of the muscles in your face. I just notice around my eyes, my mouth. I ease those muscles. That's what I'm focusing on right now. Taking away any tightness till the muscles totally relax. And today I put a little smile on my face because I feel good. I can feel the whole face just at ease. No worries, no concerns, no baggage being carried. When my face is at ease, aware of my whole body just sitting here. Totally relaxed. This is where the whole body starts to feel that delightful sensation. Refined, but real. Of comfort. of a body which has been cared for. And now, because it's been cared for and relaxed, I know it's not going to bother me for the next however long the meditation is. So now I can go into the mind. First of all, peace. How peaceful am I? And how can I deepen that peace? Or rather, it's not what I do, but what causes the peace? As I mention every time, I just give up the past, renounce the past. I'm never really sure whether I remember the past accurately. And anyone who's hurt me or any stupid things I've done, I give the benefit of the doubt. I'm not sure why, and I know I can't blame anybody, and I can't blame anything inside myself. There's causes and effects. So the past vanishes like my body did. And then the future, I don't know the future. No one does, it's uncertain. What I do know is that what I'm doing now, this moment, affects the future so much. So I create my future in the present. And when I'm in the present moment, I delight in it. It's a great place to be. The greatest holiday resort is being free of the past and the future. As they say, getting away from it all and being here. A delightful present moment. And then because we talked about the breathing before, it's quite likely the breath will come to you now. You're aware of your breath. Don't be aware of your body feeling the breath, nose or tummy or whatever it is. Just know the breath. I know my breath is going in. I know it's going out. But I don't focus on where that's occurring. The sooner you can separate your attention from the body, the better. You're just aware of the breath. But because I'm not doing very much, hardly much oxygen is needed. So the breaths are already very light and peaceful. I just stay here until that same tingling feeling in my body, the delight, starts to occur with my breath. The breath feels pleasant. And once that basic joy and happiness is there with the breath, it's so easy to watch breath after breath. The reason is because you're enjoying it. It satisfies you. And the other stage of the meditation, other stages, they too will come by themselves. As you relax more with your breathing, you'll get softer and softer, and the piti sukha, the joy, will come more and more. And you're just watching a delightful breath. It's not something you do. Any sorts of loss of present moment, and instead aiming for something in the future, that will destroy your meditation. Stay in this moment and just enjoy the breath. And everything else will come as a natural consequence. I'm going to be quiet now. Getting close now to the end of the meditation. How do you feel? What disappeared during your meditation? What did stillness get past? How does it feel? Just no need to strive. Just peace, the breath, joy is there by itself. And how does your body feel? Again, at ease. Sometimes powerful. Really healthy. I will now ring the gong 3 times. Please listen to every sound of the gong. And when the 3rd sound vanishes, that's the signal to open your eyes and end this meditation. Great. Okay, so before we have the questions and answers on the internet, anyone got any questions here on the floor? Okay, let's have the internet questions then. Thank you, that was nice. From Singapore, how is mindfulness involved in letting go in meditation? If you're not mindful, you don't really know what you're doing. And again, there's many different levels of mindfulness. As the mindfulness gets stronger and stronger, more powerful, it's like turning up the light in the room. You can see so much more. The old simile, when I used to go travelling a lot, in the morning before you were giving a talk somewhere or going on TV, that you looked in your face, had a shower, and then had a shave. And sometimes some of the mirrors which they had in these hotels were so powerful that even if I shaved, I can still see stubble on my chin. That was really disappointing. You have to have another shave. It's as if the awareness was so strong that you could see even small pieces of stubble. And that's one of the reasons why I much preferred shaving in an ordinary mirror when the light was not so strong. You wouldn't see so many faults. But anyway, that was a good example. When the light is weak, of course you can't see so much. The light gets more and more intense, you can see so much more. Mindfulness is very strong. You can see some of those things which you aren't letting go of. Some of those little attachments which are there in the background, and you don't even recognize that you're still holding on to them. But as the mindfulness increases in its power, then you can start to see, well, why can't the mind just get deep into meditation? What's stopping me? And the mindfulness gets strong enough to let go of some of the subtle blockages to your meditation. Some of the subtle wants or aversions, some of the subtle doubts. Even those, you can start to see them. Oh yeah, I can see now. You know that once you can see these things, you can usually let them go. I haven't used that simile for a long time now, but a lot of times when I had a blockage in meditation, you were meditating and for some reason it wasn't just going deep, then I just, instead of just being patient, I thought I was being patient but I wasn't, I just looked back and see what's going on. And as soon as you saw the problem, just seeing it, then that obstacle disappeared. You just went deeper into meditation, went past it. I never overcame obstacles through willpower, only through wisdom power. It's as if as soon as you see the problem vanishes. Like that simile for those of you who read the way the Buddha taught in the suttas. When a meditator sees Mara and recognizes, I see you, Mara. Mara is this symbol of delusion and control. And then, as soon as you see Mara, Mara disappears. That quickly. And leaves you, shoulders hunched. The meditator knows me. And then goes. So anyway, that's how mindfulness can see what the problems are. And other things, sometimes the mindfulness has to be innovative. I remember just seeing somebody show me a clip from the ABC News. Somewhere in Adelaide, they'd built, outside of Adelaide, built a new detention centre for migrants or refugees or whatever. And in that migrant centre, they built this very high-tech gate. It cost the government a lot of money. And it's almost impossible to penetrate, to get through, escape. But then, when the mindfulness just drew back a little bit, saw a bit further, they saw that they'd installed the gate. They didn't have enough money to install a fence. So you just had to walk about 50 meters to the left or 50 meters to the right. You can just walk around it. That's like mindfulness. Sometimes you think there's a blockage here. Just look back a bit, have your mindfulness be a bit more innovative. You find there's such an easy way around it. If you keep knocking your head against a wall, you don't break the wall, you break your head. Be more innovative. And no mindfulness, of course, you can't let go. Mindfulness gets stronger. And letting go actually creates more mindfulness. It's as if the energy of the mind is not wasted by being spread all over the place. Have you ever been at a job, you've got so many different jobs to do at the same time? And what happens what happens if you only got one job? It's like on the desk, there's no papers, there's just one telephone, not even internet. So easy. You can only do one call at a time. Maybe you can do 2 calls because you've got 2 ears. I've never seen anyone do that. One telephone in one ear, another telephone in another ear. But nevertheless, just one at a time, it's more simple. You get more energy that way. So your mindfulness, when it's simplified, gets stronger. It's like all the power is just going into one place. You feel the mindfulness really pick up. That's why letting go of all these letting go of the past and the future, simple thing like that. That increases your mindfulness enormously. And in meditation, you don't need to be involved in the past and the future. You don't need to think and give things names. You let the right things go, and then your mindfulness just really takes off. This is Gloria. Can metta lead to the fourth jhana? Yes, it can. Anything can lead to these things, but when you do, even like loving kindness, the way to take it even into the jhanas is just by itself you can't. You've got to sort of make use of that and let the process begin. It's like how you start the fire. And once you have loving kindness, true loving kindness, it doesn't have an object. It's not may all beings be happy and well. Even that saying, all beings be happy and well, that's not loving kindness. It's a start. First of all beings. How many beings do you know? Instead you have this demand they be happy and well. Can somebody who is, go to a hospital, you give loving kindness, may all beings be happy and well, some of those beings are going to die, they're sick. So real loving kindness is, open the door of your heart to what's right in front of you. Even in your own body. If you're sick, give loving kindness to sickness. Not may sickness disappear, but it's my teacher. I'll learn from it. I'm not trying to get rid of it. I'm caring for it, not curing it. And that type of loving kindness, it just gets transcendent. I often say that when I teach loving kindness meditation, imagine it as beautiful energy. It's not coming from anywhere, it's not going to anybody, it's just there, just like the sun. Shines on anybody who happens to be underneath it. And so that loving kindness it does eventually end up like a nimitta. And it's beautiful and it's gorgeous. And once it does become gorgeous like that, the piti sukha comes up, the happiness, then of course that leads into a jhanas. And of course that goes all the way to fourth jhana if you relax enough and let go enough. The main thing which leads into the deep meditations, actually leads to anything, is letting go. But let go of the right things. Not like that gentleman who said he was taking 5 precepts, but he found it too difficult. When he went to work, there was a party, and so they said, have a drink. He said, no, I can't, I'm a Buddhist. Buddhist, yes, they respect Buddhism these days. So it's great, Buddhism about letting go. Come on, let go and have a drink. and he came back again afterwards and found a better excuse at parties. He said, I can't drink because of doctor's orders. And they didn't ask him again, they didn't give him any alcohol. But of course I told him, I think many of you know the story, I told him, look, you can't keep one precept by breaking another precept. You're perfectly healthy, nothing wrong with you. What do you mean doctor's orders? And that's when he reminded me of Buddhism. He said the Buddha often compared himself to a doctor. It's Dr. Buddha's orders. And that worked. So letting go is important. And metta does lead to fourth jhana. You know that I remember reading years ago with Suddhimagga, they were saying different meditations can lead to different stages of meditation. And then in the earlier version of Suddhimagga, similar, the Vimuttimagga, there I remember reading that, and it said that like reflections on a Buddha can only lead to a first jhana. And then underneath it said, no, it can't. Somebody had obviously edited that. It depends how you do it. Do you remember, just for those of you who are here about Wesak time, I did that a meditation on the Buddha, Ajahn Brahm style, where you just imagine that you are an enlightened, you're the Buddha Imagine that play act. Close your eyes, you're under the Bodhi tree. It's calm, it's peaceful, and you've just become fully enlightened. You're nothing to worry about in the whole world. No duties to perform. Nothing needed at all. No fear, no plans, no worries. You're enlightened. And you go on like that for a while, and my goodness, that gets you into really deep meditations. You feel it. You don't think it. And so I remember the first time I did that, and it was gorgeous. And it was only in a kindergarten school in Singapore, and all the adults really got off on it. The kids got off on it as well, and I got off on it. And because of that, they said, "Can you do the same again this evening?" to the adults, and so we did. From Russia, how to stop desire for results in meditation, desire for jhanas, and envy those who have achieved jhanas. And that's one of the silly things. Why do we envy people? We have something else in Buddhism called mudita, which is delight in other people's success. You got a jhana, yay, well done. It's like free happiness which you're giving away. Someone has become peaceful. Do you have joy in your hearts now that the Sangha is going to go off on retreat and have a nice peaceful time? Or do you feel, oh, that's unfair, we need you here? A lot of times there's opportunity for joy, for enjoying other people's success. That's called mudita. People do that sometimes. What was it? Years and years ago, I was at Perth airport picking up some monk who was about to arrive, and on the same flight there was this group of Baha'i refugees. You know, they were from Iran first of all, they went to Pakistan because they were being persecuted, and finally they were given visas to start a community here in Perth. I remember them coming out of the airport, and imagine you've been persecuted, you know, all your possessions taken away, some of your relations killed or tortured, and now they come into Perth. It was like safety, freedom, and they were just punching the air as they walked through the gates into the airport. Yay! They were so happy. And then I got infected by that as well, and I was punching the air as well. So hang on, I'm a Buddhist. I'm not a refugee. But you felt that sort of, why not celebrate other people's happiness and get that bunch of joy in your own heart instead of jealousy? Jealousy doesn't make any sense to me. It's for results in meditation. If you try and have a goal for results in meditation, you can feel the burden, the heaviness of it. It stops you being free. And also, one of the great ways of overcoming that, I had a brilliant teacher, Ajahn Brahm. Just a few things he said, but he kept on repeating them. You meditate not to attain things or achieve things. Coming from Ajahn Brahm was powerful. You meditate to let go of things. Not to achieve more things, but to let go. Not to gain more attainments, but to lose the idea of someone attaining anything. To be free, not to be more burdened. To lose, not to gain. Be a biggest loser, not a biggest gainer. And those who have achieved jhanas, only people who achieve jhanas is people who start to disappear. I remember how many times I've said that here. I cannot enter jhana. Ajahn Brahm cannot enter jhana. I said that to you many times. Ajahn Brahm has to disappear first of all. The idea of an entity, a being who's going to get something, that disappears. And then there's no obstacles. Well, it's a really good teaching that no one, Ajahn Chah could not enter jhana. Ajahn Chah would disappear too. And then the jhanas would happen. The idea of a self, of being a doer, something who achieves things and gets results, that's what vanishes. And anyway, from Malaysia. How soon can one start to practice meditation alone without guided meditation? Is it okay to depend upon guided meditation throughout my whole life? Thank you. No. So even my guided meditation, it's only a Saturday afternoon or a Friday evening. The rest of the time, just off you go. You know what to do. You know, at the 9-day retreats, I hardly ever do a guided meditation. People keep asking, when can I do a guided meditation for them? I never answer them. I just don't do it. Because at a meditation retreat you have all day to get into some nice meditations. You learn. Here you've only got a short time. And sometimes I try and be with you when I'm doing a guided meditation. But you know, it's hard for me, simply because I just want to shut up and just let my mind go deep and stop it, because I want to lead you into depths of meditation. But nevertheless, guided meditations are okay at the beginning, but don't depend upon them. They give you once a week or twice a week if you come Fridays and Saturdays. For 9 months of the year you get guided meditations. But after a while, you know what to do. You've had the lessons. Just do it. How many times do you need guidance when you're learning to drive a car? After a while, you know how to drive a car. You don't need the guidance anymore. Lastly, from Anthony. Some time ago in meditation I saw a light in my chest near the heart area. Now instead of meditating on the breath, I often visualize the light and meditate on it, and that sometimes gives me a joyful feeling. It's okay to do so? Yeah. So it's nice to be able to calm the body down and to even do the breath meditation, but if you get a beautiful light coming up and you can focus on that, it gives you joy, great. But don't locate it in your body or on your body. If you have like lights in the meditation, see if you can disembody the lights. Disembody, you don't think they're here or they're anywhere in the body. And that means you've got less of a distraction, less of a connection to your body. You're going more to that sixth sense of the mind, which is much more powerful. So what you're doing is fine. And also sometimes experiment, see if it works. If it works for you, great, carry on. Okay, those are the 4 questions on a Saturday meditation here, online. Any questions from the audience here? I usually say any questions from the floor, but today I'm going to say any questions from the chairs. Wishing more people are sitting on chairs on the floors. No? Oh yes, you have there. Oh great. Sandra, I remember I got a really lovely question from you at Waisak time.
I don't have a question, just to say that the KFC is on at 5 o'clock.
Oh okay, yeah.
We've got very special guests tonight.
Oh yes, great.
So just wanted to invite everyone along.
Yeah, that's the Ukrainian refugee.
Yeah, we've got my good friend Leif Conlon who's coming along. He's an amazing man. You'll get a lot out of his meditation and listening to him. And he's bringing a young man, now someone will have to help me with this, Vladi, I think V-L-A-D-I. And Vladi has arrived in this country about 2 weeks ago as a refugee from Ukraine. And I've invited him to make new friends, to tell us his story, and for us to chant the Metta Sutta together.
Oh, good.
So feel free to stay. And we have not 1, but 2 pots of soup for the Kalyana Friendship Soup.
I was going to answer that. Soup. It's a great way to to come to the talks. I never give any soup on a Friday night or Saturday. If I did, we won't have any space in the hall at all, I reckon. But anyway, well done, excellent. Okay, so now I'm going to pay respects to the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, and then if you want to ask me a question, I'm going to go into the community hall over there. I can't eat the soup, but I can smell it. And that's not against my rules. Okay. Can you put that on that side? So we can pick it up.